Coming up on Gunter's Universe, episode 37, I talk with Nathan Beattie, aka Zaeran, about his upcoming VIVE title, Minigolf. Stay tuned.
VR Chat, the next frontier. These are the experiences from Gunter's universe. His continuing mission, to seek out and connect with VR devs and passionate enthusiasts, to discuss theories, beliefs, and rhetoric of all kind, and to boldly go where no show has ever gone before.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gunter's Universe. This is the one and only live talk show broadcasting from the metaverse. Join us here in VR Chat every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific to watch the show live in VR. You can also watch the live stream at hitbox.tv/Gunter444. My guest tonight, Nathan Beattie, aka Zaeran. We're going to talk all about his upcoming VIVE title, Minigolf. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing fantastically. How you going?
I'm doing very good. It's always good here to be in VR, hanging out with people, interviewing great people like yourself that are developing all the fun stuff that we're going to get to play with, hopefully in the next 3-4 months.
Hopefully.
So let's get into things that are developing all the fun background information. I'm curious, where you're from. Did you go to college? How'd you get into this kind of work?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I'm from a place near Melbourne in Australia. Did a software development degree at a uni called Deakin University. And basically, I think it was in second year there that the DK1 dropped, and I just sort of saw that and went, yep, this is what I'm doing from now on. This is the future.
Right on.
And then, yeah, basically what I really wanted to focus on was sort of hand interaction and UI sort of stuff. So I basically picked up Elite Motion, did a couple of demos there, and then got offered to make the robot chess game for them. And then, yeah, from there I just sort of kept deving and building more stuff and just throwing videos out on Reddit.
Cool, yeah, we're going to talk about robot chess and some of the other projects. I have videos for those things. But first, let's dive into Minigolf. It was, a month ago or so, we saw a video come out demonstrating your Minigolf game, and it kind of blew up on Reddit, and it's really this great project. Tell me why you decided to go with Minigolf.
So basically, I first prototyped it with the DK2 and the Hydra, and I basically thought, like, what's a nice simple game that everyone knows that, like, you can sort of play with motion controls. And really, like, Minigolf was just something that jumped out at me. Like, everyone knows how to play it. There's mechanics that you can add in and all that sort of stuff that can make it more fun and actually take advantage of VR. And then the big sort of thing that I want to do with it is the whole social aspect, so you can play with friends and, like, dick around and try and mess with each other and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, throw your club at them, all that kind
yeah,
of
exactly.
good stuff. Just like in real life, we have Minigolf, just this great social game. Just in real life, when I hit my friend over the head and he falls into one of the rivers there, and then I win.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a combat Minigolf game, yeah. So I actually got to try it with a Hydra before you got your VIVE system, and I tried that on my my game stream or whatever, my VR stream, which sort of has died off. Doing all the things here in VR Chat takes up plenty of time, but that was great to get an early build, and it worked. I was surprised because it's the Hydra, and the Hydra sucks, but I had a good time with the Hydra playing it, and it was not anything as close to what it is now. It's quite beautiful now. Let me put up a video so people that haven't seen it before can get an idea.
Yeah, sure.
It's Nathan here with the latest work.
Let me pump up the volume.
So there's been quite a few changes since the last one you guys would have seen. The first being the music that you can hear in the background. This is the first of hopefully many tracks that I'll
This is beautiful, dude.
just sort of as background music.
Oh, cheers.
Actually using it in VR really...
Asset packs are a wonderful thing.
Sure. So yeah, you're a one-man developer, right? Or are you part of others?
So for Minigolf, I'm a one-man developer. So I do have a guy at Melbourne Uni as a music student who's doing my sort of background music, but other than that, it's all just me.
Cool.
Alright, so this here was the original...
So this video demonstrates the old UI and the new UI. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So what you can see up there now is the old UI. Basically it was a purely trackpad based system. Basically the circle there would correspond to the location on the trackpad that you were touching. And I love the crap out of this menu because it was really easy for me to use, but no one else could sort of figure it out. So I had to go to the more sort of panel based system that sort of come up now.
So what do you mean? The trackpad is where you use your thumb.
Yeah, pretty much. So
on the surface there, it's not a button, it's like a trackpad. And why weren't people liking that?
Just the way that I had it set up, you had to have the controller facing up and put your thumb on the trackpad to actually bring that menu up. And then, because I didn't have the proper UI element, it's just sort of text and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of hard to figure out, especially since the middle button was a contextual sort of thing.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's just not as clear as this new one that I'm about to see now.
I mean, it's new input, not just because it's motion, but the controller itself is a bit different. I guess it has an element of the new Steam controller, but I haven't tried that. Probably most people haven't.
Yeah, I haven't tried the Steam one either.
So here's a new UI. Of course,
yeah, so what I've done here is sort of a panel-based system. So you'll have 3 panels that are sort of contextual with what's happening. The middle one's sort of your main menu, and then you've got social, and the one on the left is contextual. So with this one, basically, in most games like say Hover Junks or something like that, you'll have just purely one-based thing. So you'll point at the object that you want to interact with and just tap. But I found with that, when you've got UI that sort of the buttons are this small, it's really hard to actually accurately select what you want, I guess.
Your hand will be shaking and stuff, and you might
miss exactly.
Yeah.
So what I did instead is basically each panel is its own separate menu, and then you sort of point at that and then use the trackpad to scroll around, so it's like a 2D screen. So with that, you only have to point at the huge menu, which takes hand shaking that out of it, and the trackpad's good enough that you can actually scroll around and still select things. Yeah, so you can see that white dot there is sort of where the cursor is.
Cursor stays persistent, so if we want to say go in that
and so when you go back to that panel, it picks up where the cursor was. Cool.
Yeah, so each panel's its own little persistent menu system.
And as long as I'm pointing at this panel, then the cursor will stay there. There's on what hole.
Okay, so I guess this is mostly just UI.
Yeah, I think this particular video is just UI.
I'm gonna hunt down another one, but tell us more about Minigolf and how you've built it. What's going on?
Yeah, sure. So basically, on launch, it's going to have 3 different courses. Each course is basically 9 holes, just because 18 holes is A, very hard to think up 18 different hole designs, and B, it just feels too long in VR, I guess. If you're playing through 18 holes, it's too long of a time to be sitting in there in VR doing stuff. So yeah, 9 feels about right. But basically the goal is have one sort of base course, which is the one that I've developed first that you can see here. And basically it's just sort of standard Minigolf, nothing extra really added in. And then with other courses you'll have things like portals or boosters or other sort of mechanics that take advantage of VR.
Cool.
And yeah, this hole is a pain in the ass.
What?
So this hole's a pain in the ass. Yeah. It took me about 10 tries to get it first.
So yeah, the holes are, they are very dynamic. I like how you have, what I've seen, how you've done your layout. I mean, how did you decide to do that? Did you look at current golf courses? You just come up with all of it, out of nowhere? Or what's your process?
Menu system, so
for the most part, it was out of nowhere. I've got a mini-golf place about 20 minutes down the road that I've played a bit, and sort of leveraging that, I guess, for sort of how the holes get progressively harder. But basically what I wanted to do is for each hole, because this is sort of the teaching course, I guess, so sort of making it incrementally like more challenging as it goes on. So the first course is just like a straight with a turn, then you slowly build up, so you have like T intersections, so you have to actually place your shots properly. Then it moves into like having ramps and all that sort of stuff, which just sort of adds to the difficulty as it goes along. So I sort of built things, yeah, just trying to maintain that steadily increasing difficulty.
And then, yeah, if you want to say stand
yeah, that's sort of the process I went through between or behind actually building things.
So yeah, that's also a pretty useful feature. The third big one I put in is
so yeah, people that have the Vive, they'll be able to walk around in these environments, use their motion controls to hit the ball. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
For sure. Like, we had a multiplayer test a few weeks ago, like a really sort of early on one, and yeah, everyone just had a blast. Like, barely anyone played golf though, we were just sort of hitting each other with golf clubs. But
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but yeah, like, it's really fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. So I think there are some other mini golf games that are going to be coming out, and I think yours is unique because of the social. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah. So I know of at least one other one that's looking at doing multiplayer, but I haven't actually seen any of their gameplay of that yet, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. With my one, like, the social side of it's pretty much set up now. Like, you've got a friends list, you've got like user authentication, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, like you've got the voice chat. And yeah, I guess it's design. Basically, Minigolf is what facilitates the social. So the social's sort of the big important part of it. Because yeah, especially after doing that multiplayer test, I found like social in VR is just huge. There's sort of no comparison.
We know that, of course, here.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, people want to play games, of course, and
yeah.
Basically,
I like the idea of these, like you worked on a billiards game, these sort of simple bar games or games that anybody could play, games that we've been playing our whole life. I think it makes a lot of sense to develop those things first for VR.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like we're very much an infantile state with, right now I can only use my head, so it's like I just woke up, being born into VR, and
yeah, exactly.
Next we'll have our hands.
So
what's this?
So this is another one of the launch tiles I'm working on called Marble Run. Basically, it's sort of like you have a bunch of tiled blocks and you can sort of design a course for a marble to run down. It's just a little sort of sandbox thing that I was using to prototype the level editor for Minigolf, which has sort of spun off into its own little thing now.
Are you going to be able to make your own levels, or are you going to have a level editor in Minigolf?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the main things I wanted with that was a level editor, so you can create your own levels and share it with friends and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's going to be pretty amazing. How's that going to look? You're not going to be able to like create a level with somebody else in there with you, right?
To start off with, you won't be able to, but I would like to do a sort of multiplayer level editor, so you and a bunch of friends can sort of get in there and design a course together, and so place blocks and whatnot. So end game, definitely you will have the multiplayer level editor.
Do you know what price point you're thinking about at this point?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and hit early access, which would be $15, and then probably $20 for the actual launch. I can't imagine charging more than that for something like Minigolf.
Yeah, I like that price.
What
do you think about the VIVE delay, or how much communication HTC had this whole time, and now it's delayed, and kind of all that controversy?
Yeah, safe to say that was pretty annoying. Like, even us devs weren't told anything. We found out at the same time everyone else did. So it's sort of, I'm split between it, because on the one hand it's good to have another 4 months to develop things, but on the other hand that's 4 months that I'm not selling anything. So it's, sort of a trade-off. But on the plus side, we're meant to be getting a dev kit in January, I think they said, like a new one. So that's good, I guess. But,
Awesome. What was the process like getting a dev kit?
So the first one I got was basically I built the Razor Hydra demo for the Minigolf and just sent it off to Valve and said I want to make this a launch title for the Vive, but I don't have one. And they're like, okay, that's cool. Send us your contact info, and yeah, just
Nice.
sort of got a Vive through that. And then yeah, I got because also in Melbourne I run one of the virtual reality meetup groups, so I managed to get another 2 from that. So just sort of to share around the community.
Oh, that's cool. So they're sending them out to meetup groups. That's nice.
Yeah, and they're sending them out to meetup groups and like all social and community things as well.
So I guess we've talked about where you want to take this in the future. It's pretty much so that people can design their own levels.
Yeah,
there's going to be leaderboards, or what else do you have in mind for mini golf?
So definitely leaderboards. I'm still tossing up whether I want to go down the cosmetics route, like and have people so they can have their own sort of custom golf clubs and golf balls and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely
cool.
it's a dangerous road to go down, I think, but
Why?
Like going too overboard with sort of microtransaction-y stuff. So I'm still sort of tossing up with that, but if I do go down that route, then having things like tournaments that people can compete in to sort of win trophies or cosmetic things and all that sort of stuff would be pretty cool.
I wonder if there'll be the Tiger Woods of mini golf. That'll be this championship.
Yeah,
I'm certainly looking forward to like virtual esports, VR esports, and seeing people compete in these places with motion controls and stuff.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I could see like hover junkers, like you have to really aim and shoot. You can't just, auto aim or it's just a whole different beast. I feel like if you got really good shooting there, you might be pretty decent in real life.
The next America's Army with the American military getting recruited.
Yeah. We'll all be part of the military in VR. They'll train us all. So there's a couple other projects that you've worked on. There's a VR reader project. Is that part of in collaboration with Metatron VR?
That one isn't. That one was just a thing I did for the Gear VR Jam. So that one built that to just read in like EPUB files, and you can just sit there like on a plane or a bus or something and just sort of read whatever you want and just get lost in the world. But yeah, that didn't end up making it onto the Oculus store for some reason, so most people probably won't be seeing it, although it is on Sideload if people want to try it out.
Right. Sideload is a app developed by Mark Schramm, who's been on the show, and if you want to get something on the Gear, but it's not being approved for the Oculus store, that's a place for you to get your stuff out. It's pretty cool. So what's the process like with Oculus and trying to get on the Gear store? What was frustrating?
So basically it really seemed like I was being deliberately stonewalled. Like I'd send them a build and they'd just say, oh, it's not right, fix it, and not actually say what needed to be fixed. So then, yeah, there was a lot of back and forth with that, and then like in their terms of service it says that they will provide feedback, so I linked that to them, and they're like, oh, it looks like an outdated document, I'll get that fixed. And it's like, oh, okay.
Whoa,
then.
Really?
So, yeah, I got stonewalled hard for this one. So I just sort of, from that, lost all faith in the whole Gear VR submission process. Although with the whole Oculus Concepts thing coming out now, I might try and get on that. Because I think it'd still be like pretty cool. Like anyone that's actually tried it has enjoyed it. So.
I mean, it's like education in VR is going to be great because you kind of your full attention, or at least you're not distracted by your real life environment, and then the virtual environment can be controlled. I think I was reading that you're interested in education and training, part of maybe stuff you're studying at school.
Yeah, so definitely I think education training in VR is going to be pretty huge. I guess in terms of stuff I've done, I haven't really gone into the whole education and training side of things yet, though I really want to. I think for me I see it more in the like actual sort of big industries like mining or like something like that where they actually have hazardous situations that they can't train in. So it's, or like, I guess medical would be the big one as well, like practicing surgeries and that sort of thing. But yeah, like that whole thing of being able to repeat an experience like infinitely that you'd maybe get 1 or 2 shots at in real life is going to be really valuable, I think.
Yeah, I really didn't think about it like that. For those dangerous jobs. Interesting. Anything else like along the lines of education and how you think like maybe specifically the VIVE and room scale and motion controls would be used to teach?
That's off the top of my head, not so much. I think maybe things like, say mechanics or something like that, like working with maintenance or real objects so they can actually pull things apart that they wouldn't have experience in otherwise. Like I guess the big one is maintenance of like, say you've got $1 billion machine that like you can't really shut it down to teach people how to like fix it and all that sort of stuff. You just build a copy of it in VR and then they can sort of walk around it, pull parts out, see how they fit together and all that sort of thing. So that's where I'd sort of go with it. It's a lot cheaper too. Yeah, exactly. I think really like any sort of repeatable experience is sort of where you need to go.
And you can do it from your home in your underwear. Everybody likes learning that way.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
Next up, I've got billiards lined up. So this is I remember seeing this probably a year ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Billiards work in progress.
Anything to talk about here? Anything you learned from this? Of course, you're using the Hydra.
Yeah, so with this one I sort of shelved the project, like on the one hand because it was a Hydra project, and on the other one because I guess the controls weren't very good. Like, the way this works is you have to use both triggers. The first one locks the pull cue to the front hand, and then the back one's used to actually shoot. So I guess the problem, especially with billiards, is usually you're resting your hand on something, so your front hand is steady. But when you're sort of like, you've got both hands in the air trying to shoot something, like you find that your hands move a lot more unpredictably than you think they would, especially when they're not really holding something.
Right, they're not steadying it on the table.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see with some of these, like when I shoot, my sort of backhand kicks up a bit and my front hand sort of goes all over the place. But what I did instead was I decided to open source this one. So if you go on GitHub, you can download the source code for this and sort of get the hang of some Hydra development stuff there.
I'm still pretty bad at pool.
I mean, so I'm starting to think like billiards, how would that really work well? I mean, without having a table to rest on. It seems to be pretty damn difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one, I'll give it that. I guess the way I did it here is sort of the best way I could think of, where you're sort of, you have to lock the pull cue to the hand, just so when you actually go back and forward it doesn't like slip all over the place. But yeah, anything that actually involves physical objects, I guess, is like really tough to simulate properly, especially without any sort of, I guess, haptic feedback.
All the balls have stopped moving for half a second.
Well, the golf clubs, I can totally see that. That, you know, and even with the Hydra, it worked for me. That felt right, I guess, because
like straight away. But
I don't know. I guess there's just a lot less smooth. You're not really resting on something like a table. You're just standing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Plus as well, you're not sort of like, if you were, say, doing the golf club and you were using it like a pool club where you're sort of going along the long axis, that'd be definitely a different ball game than like just sort of swinging it.
I was trying to pocket something so I can show you guys the...
Because yeah, you're trying to do sort of precision there, and it doesn't really work because your hands aren't as precise when you're not resting on something.
Movement's a little bit slow, but I don't want to make it...
That's cool. So you've had a VIVE for about a month. What kind of, tell us about it. You know, we all want VIVEs. So what do you like about it? What's really, you know, what works well? What doesn't work well? Does it have problems? There's things that could be improved.
Yeah, I'd say so. So I guess start off with the good things is the whole room scale thing is amazing. Like being able to actually walk around and like have your head tracked, have your hands tracked. That's sort of a big game changer. both in terms of what you can do and in terms of actual like sim sickness. Like my missus, she's used the DK2 and like feels like throwing up after using it most of the time, but when she put the Vive on, she could actually walk around like she's not like feeling sick or anything. She was able to use that for a good half hour or so perfectly fine.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, so like yeah, right off the bat, like the experience is so much better than the like DK2 is. It's ridiculous. And then
How big's your space?
So I've got, I think it's about 3 by 2 meters. Like I've just got one small room in the house dedicated to the Vive. So yeah, like with that I get plenty of room to sort of move around and do stuff. But yeah, I think it's about half of the recommended size, maybe a bit less than half.
What else is awesome about it? Obviously the motion controls.
Yeah, definitely. So as you might have experienced with the Hydra, being able to actually reach out and touch things or interact with things without just having to sort of look and press a button is like amazing. Like, yeah, I guess any sort of natural input, like with hands, grabbing things and all that, like just enhances things so much. It's ridiculous.
What about how it feels, and there's kind of that goofy hat on top. I mean, is there anything you don't like about it?
The hat's definitely a problem, like, because, I don't know how to explain it, like, if you sort of replace the controller with something custom, like if I had turned the, like, controller into a hand for golf, for example, like, you don't realize where the hats are, like, you think the controllers are, I guess, further apart than they are, and then the hats sort of touch, and it's really annoying, it sort of jars you out of it a bit. I don't think of what else is annoying on them. For the most part, I guess, just the way that you have to hold it, like, it's much more cumbersome than the touch is. Like, the touch sort of fits into your hand, and it's, like, designed for ergonomics and that sort of thing, whereas the Vive just feels like a regular sort of VR one.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, in terms of feel, it definitely feels like a game controller, like you're holding something, which I think, yeah, that could definitely be improved on.
I guess for Minigolf, though, like, it's good that you have something in your hand versus...
Yeah.
Touch. I guess though you could just grab something and put it in your hand. I don't actually. I don't know. Would stuff be in the way? I guess you could. I don't see why you couldn't.
I don't know. I guess it's possible. Well,
and then you can like sell, real life VR virtual. Hold this in your hand while you're playing my game sticks.
Yeah.
That's fun. 3D print them. They look just like the ones that you've customized in your game. You'll make a fortune.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let's go like proper Skylanders or something with it.
Yeah. What else about the Vive? What else do you like? Have you been able to try other people's demos? I don't know what's out there on Steam or what can even be talked about, but if there's anything, we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, so basically there is a sort of, like once you get a Vive, you get access to the sort of repository of demos that people have made, so you can like, make a demo and sort of throw it up in the Steam VR section and anyone can sort of play with it. I think one of the good ones I've tried is the Surgeon Sim, just because it's sort of, the tricks that they've used to get things working in VR are pretty cool. Like they've gone with a sort of zero gravity environment because like, if something falls, you have to sort of bend down and grab it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Well, like Job Sim is pretty awesome. Unfortunately, my space isn't big enough to play it properly, which is sort of annoying. But
yeah, totally.
Like the parts that I can play are pretty cool.
I guess that's kind of the biggest challenge with room scale is, how big's your room definitely. And how,
Yeah, not everyone has the same size room, so it's kind of
and then I guess if you add some sort of like goofy mechanic where like you can just force pull, Jedi force pull something to you, kind of breaks the whole immersive and it being, environment that you can walk around in.
Yeah, sort of. Like I know with Valve's one, like the Portal demo, what they have is you press a button and your controller sort of extends as far across as it can until it collides with something. So if you like have something out of your reach, you sort of hold the button, then you can grab things because your controller's suddenly on the other side of the room. So things like that sort of work well, but it does, bring you out of the experience of it.
So your wand is going to it. There's nothing coming to you in that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. So like if I was standing, like if I was sitting here for example and I wanted to, say, touch something on that screen, I'd like hit a button and my controller would move all the way over to where that screen is. So it's sort of like it's raycasted across.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I guess, yeah, it works well, and it's one way of overcoming the limitations of room scale. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a jarring one when you first use it.
For Minigolf, it's fine. You just need to be able to stand up and turn around.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could probably play it in a 1 meter square.
And then,
But
of
yeah,
course,
something
you
like
just
Marble
point
Run
where you
you
want
need
to
to
teleport to get around, like the map or whatever, the course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just use the teleport system and go over. But yeah, but with something like Marble Run though, like the bigger the space you've got, obviously the bigger courses you'll be able to make. So I don't have a sort of teleport system or anything in that one yet.
Interesting. I recently heard Palmer tweet about putting one of the cameras on the opposing side of the room or whatever, like lighthouses are set up. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Like, there'd been rumors from some devs that had tried the touch that it was possible, but like nothing had actually been confirmed until he sort of tweeted that, which is good.
Yeah, I had heard something from somebody that came into VR chat that alluded to that, and it's something that I always just thought was obvious in a way. It's like,
yeah.
why couldn't you just put the second camera over there? And if anything, I thought somebody was going to hack it, or, you know, I mean, the whole constellation theme seems to that it's going to be able to be, you know, infrared dots or whatever can be put on other things and tracked. So I just thought eventually we're going to have 360 tracking. It's not really that far off and hard for that to happen. So that's kind of some really good news. Still, do you think, you know, I guess it could be room scale at that point?
Yeah, so Palmer said in his follow-up tweets that yeah, there's no sort of size limit for it, so you can do like full room scale like the VIVE can.
That's really good news for developers, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think with that though, the big thing is whatever Oculus recommends is what 90% of people are doing. So like if in their setup manual they say put the two cameras in front, then like 99% of the audience is going to put the cameras in front. You won't have that sort of room scale tracking. So really, yeah, it's down to Oculus with what they set the default setup as to, I guess, what sort of experiences you should try and develop for.
I guess the big thing is like the 360 tracking, being able to turn around, but I guess you still have a cord. It's fine on the VIVE, but I don't know how long that cord's going to be on the Rift.
Yeah, definitely. Well, even like if you just had like sitting 360, like that'd be more than enough for like 90% of the touch experiences I've seen.
Interesting. So you have some other projects that you've worked on that I found on your YouTube page. I saw Battleship VR, I saw the Robot Chess, I saw, I think that's what I saw. There might have been a few other things. We've got some videos for those. I'll play those, and maybe if you could talk about them while the video's playing, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Fast. Alright, so this looks like Battleship VR. This is basically the first VR thing that I tried to build, basically using the Leap motion. So what I wanted to do with this is sort of prototype UI with the finger interaction, so like having a grid that you could tap on and like have responsive UI and all that sort of thing. It didn't really go anywhere just because like I guess no one had a Leap, and sort of putting in the effort to dev it into a full game like chess was just it didn't really feel like something that'd be worth it, I guess. Although I think with the VIVE you could do a much larger scale Battleship game that could probably work pretty well. This video it looks like it's doing the head-mounted leap. So.
Yeah, I think that's what you said in the beginning of this one when I was watching it.
It can be hard to tell.
So yeah, this was prototyping head-mounted VR, which didn't quite work as well as I guess I hoped it would. But yeah, you can see there like being able to touch things, having the menu, all that sort of stuff. I did love the UI on that one though. That was one of my favorite things that I developed, like the whole animation there when you hit buttons and stuff, and it just looks holographic.
Yeah, hit a button, hit launch,
But yeah,
I really like it.
and away we go.
I've never tried a leap. As I understand, they don't work very well, but, you know, if you use them, I think, right in front of your face, it kind of works, and I'd like to play with little virtual holographic UI like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the leap definitely works, like, a lot better when it's just sitting on your desk, like, compared to, yeah, on a headset. They never really solved that problem, I don't think.
Obviously, it's not too big of a deal, but if you're doing it
Cool.
fine
What else
precision,
we got? Robot
it
chest.
can really mess things up.
Yeah.
So like if I want to hit that, but then look to the side. Hey folks.
Yeah, so, yeah, Robot Chess was sort of my first commercial, like, or VR project that actually got sold. So this was bundled with the Leap Motion for a year. So yeah, if you bought a Leap, this is one of the games that had come with it.
Select something,
Cool.
just tap it with your hand.
Yeah. So there's another sort of UI system there, and then basically what I did was found a open source chess AI and sort of just integrated that in, and then yeah, got the robot to make moves and stuff, which worked pretty well. But there's a lot of back and forth developing this because they wanted something that was playable on a 2D screen as well as in VR. So there's a lot of sort of little mechanics in there that you had to add in to facilitate that. So like you'll see that, like, yeah, being able to move in closer with the camera, like having it so when you pick up a chess piece it has the line that goes down and all that sort of stuff.
Also got the menu, so if we open up this one,
like yeah, all of that was
Pretty slick.
we have things like difficulty.
It went pretty well. Like I had so many complaints though about you could move while you're in check, because like, yeah, I guess it's not a legal move, which I was actually surprised by.
Yeah, that's
Because basically the way I designed it was to make it like a real chess, I guess, so like if you're not paying attention you could make the wrong move and lose. But yeah, that wasn't a decision a lot of people agreed with for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. But no, though, like, it was a pretty fun little project.
Yeah, it's really polished. I like how the robot was looking around at your pieces.
Yeah, basically, yeah, did whatever I could in that to make the robot seem like an actual thing, I guess.
Just restarting it here. I mean, yeah, it's are you planning on, you know, bringing this to the VIVE or something else?
Probably not this particular sort of robot chess thing, but I think some sort of chess game on the VIVE would be pretty cool, like just a purely multiplayer thing. Mainly because, yeah, chess AI is not fun to work with. But, yeah, I think some sort of multiplayer thing with like chess or even any other sort of board game would be pretty neat.
In terms of gameplay, that's pretty much all there is.
That's really nice.
Cheers.
Okay, so that covers, I think, your projects. Do you have any other projects that I'm not aware of or anything to share?
I guess the only other main VIVE one I have at the moment would be the drum kit. So it's sort of a thing where you can like build your own drum kit and bang away on it and all that sort of stuff, but that's still pretty early days. I've got a couple of videos of that out, but yeah, nothing really spectacular.
So what do you think about the Rock Band announcement? That's sort of along the same lines, I suppose. But I guess that's just a guitar, but I know in the original game they have drums.
Yeah, I don't know if they only have guitar with that or if they're doing like the full Rock Band thing, 'cause they haven't really announced, but I think it's definitely like something that's been coming for a long time anyway. Like ever since the DK1 came out, there's people I've talked to that are like, oh, imagine like Guitar Hero or something in VR with the crowd and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely something that's been coming, but I was sort of surprised that it was an Oculus funded project, I guess. It's not what I expected them to try and do.
Right. Apparently there's another big exclusive announcement coming, I don't know, in a day or two. I think I was seeing that on Reddit.
Was this the climbing one, or has they got another one that they're announcing?
It might be, I might not just be on top of it.
Okay.
Okay. What's the climbing one? Probably is that.
So... yeah, basically it was a...
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, basically it was
yeah,
a
did you
thing...
see Kenny's up there flying around?
Yeah.
Let's check in with Kenny. Everything okay, Kenny?
Everything's good. I was able to fix the camera system, so so ignore that flying avatar for now.
All right. Kenny's my partner here, and he runs a virtual camera. So if you've seen a green camera running around, that's him manually switching between cameras, basically camera angles, panning shots, and that's how it gets recorded. Yeah, it's kind of fun. We've never had the flying avatar glitch. It's definitely funny.
Yeah.
So we were saying something about climbing. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's something that Oculus has funded with, I think, Crytek. They've sort of done a rock climbing sort of demo. So like, it's visually really good, but for some reason they're doing it with an Xbox controller. I'm not really sure how that works. I haven't really looked at the video enough, but it just seems like you'd expect it to be a touch thing, not a Xbox thing.
I guess it's great because of the sense of scale. Sort of reminds me of what was the game in the DK1? It was almost like the galleries first like go at it. There was all these little mini games like climbing a wall, shooting basketball hoops, breaking bottles and glasses.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've tried that one.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, what was that? I don't know. Rock climbing. It was not rock climbing, but it was like indoor rock climbing, and I thought that was fun with the Hydra, just to try to scale up a wall, and you know, it was cool. I would hope they add touch to that. That seems like a no-brainer.
No, they do have touch to that climbing game, the Crytek Climb. They do have touch.
Okay.
They just started with the Xbox because that's what it comes with first, you know. So that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, neat. Yeah, apparently I think Tom said it's one of the best looking games that he's seen in VR, so I guess that's a plus.
The Crytek engine, why not? You know, I saw that Back to Dinosaur Island, that looks pretty nice in VR.
Yeah, it does. I'm surprised it actually runs in VR, the quality it's got. Yeah.
So I've been asking the developers that are coming on the show, specifically Unity developers, to share some sort of tip. We have a lot of people learning how to be developers around here. I'm always curious as well. There's people watching that I'm sure would benefit. So do you have a Unity tip for everyone?
Yeah, sure. I guess, working with a lot of physics-based things, this is probably a very physics-based tip. But basically, Unity doesn't like small objects when it comes to physics. They're very prone to sort of clipping through walls and that sort of stuff. So I guess, make everything significantly larger than you normally would. So for example, in Minigolf, everything is 10 times the size that it would normally be. Like the ball's a meter wide, like each tile for the golf course is 10 meters long. But basically the player is 10 times as scaled up as well, and the gravity is 10 times, so you don't actually notice it. But it makes like all the physics stuff so much easier. It's ridiculous.
It's really interesting. I can kind of see that, like, we've had, like, try to do a soccer ball, you know, and here in VR chat and other physics-based things. It's very limited for us, but, you know, it's there. And definitely I think the bigger the things are, the better it works. I think it's hard for us because we spawn in here as a certain size of avatar. And I think it's got to kind of work for us there. But that's a great tip. Yeah. All right, a few more questions. Kind of just a sort of lightning round. Quick questions. What do you want first, eye tracking or body tracking?
Oh god. Body tracking.
Why so?
Basically, being able to track your feet would be good, like especially with the drum kit that I've been developing, like for the foot pedals, there's just nothing to like actually do that.
Right.
So.
You have to hit a button. Yeah.
Yeah, and also for things like UI, knowing which direction the player's body is facing. So like right now, like if they look to the left, you don't know if they're looking to the left and they're still facing forward, or if they actually turn to the left. So like, being able to know like which way they're actually, like their body's facing would be a huge benefit.
More important to you, resolution or field of view?
Resolution. Basically, there's a lot of tabletop stuff I've been trying to do where like it's sort of mini characters that are running around. For resolution at the moment doesn't really facilitate that. Just because everything just looks like it's 2 pixels.
What are some of your favorite games of all time?
Oh god. I think one of my favorites would definitely be Knights of the Old Republic. That's yeah, definitely one of the best games I've played in my opinion. Oh god, what else? It's kinda hard to say, I think. I've been playing Oblivion, that's been fun.
Oh hell yeah.
Just, yeah, going back to sort of retro things like the first Digimon World game, that was amazing. There hasn't really been anything like that since. And yeah, I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Cool. Any favorite, VR experiences or just some that come to mind?
Yeah, let's think. Definitely Surgeon Sim, that one was a lot of fun in VR, like playing around with that. In terms of DK2, I didn't really play that many DK2 things. I think Sightline was pretty good. But outside of that, like, I haven't really tried a DK2 demo in the last probably 6 to 9 months. So in terms of anything that's come out recently, I'm not really sure.
So you had to go up into the attic and like move billions of boxes around to find that dusty old DK2 that was lying up there that you thought you would never use again just to come on the show, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't touched the DK2 in 3 months since I got the VIVE, so it's just been sort of sitting on a shelf somewhere.
So how sucky is it? With especially resolution and screen door right now.
The resolution, like, I guess it's a little worse, but it's not sort of the main thing you notice. It's more like when I'm moving my head side to side, because I don't have the camera set up, I'm not actually moving. That's sort of the biggest thing I noticed. And like before, when I sort of got up to adjust my clothes, whatever, I didn't actually move upwards. So yeah, not having the actual positional tracking is sort of the biggest difference that you notice.
I guess you wouldn't notice it too much here because we're seated, but yeah. Yeah, we need to be able. Body tracking is definitely huge, right? Like, got to get our whole bodies in there. I'm hoping with the stem, which I'm never gonna get, so I'm not really hoping. But in my imagination, there's a lot of trackers that I'd be receiving, and just would like to track more of myself and things.
Yeah, definitely. Even something like the perception neuron or whatever it was called, like that sort of thing was apparently worked pretty well, but I don't think enough people have them to warrant actually doing a VR game for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they're pretty cool from stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. I think this is about it. Let's open things up to the audience for questions. I probably should have prompted them a little bit earlier so that people can think about it and stuff. But just shout out if you have a question. I know, Pizzy, you were saying something, possibly having a question. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, I guess I'll just ask some VIVE questions. So, since you've been using the VIVE for about 3 months, right, you said?
Yeah, about that.
So, I guess, how's the presence? Do you have, like, sustained presence in it?
Pretty much, yeah. So, the room scale really adds to the sense of presence, like, because when I actually walk around, I'm walking around in the environment. So, it really feels like you're there compared to, like, just sitting on a seat with the DK2.
Has any of your motion, because personally I've used the DK2 so much, I've played different games and things like that, that I've noticed my motion change a little. Have you noticed any motion type changes or?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Like
what do you mean, Pizzy?
Yeah, pretty natural.
Well, I mean, just like maybe jumping and falling doesn't have the same effect it used to in VR, but I'm not sure how much you would actually do that in the VIVE. Like in the DK2,
yeah, with the VIVE, because you can't, like, the players standing on the ground, you can't make them fall or anything like that because they know that they're standing. So, like, yeah, all that sort of stuff you have to be really careful of.
Right. Well, like just like jumping in VR chat. I mean, you can feel it in your stomach, but I've gotten used to that to where, like, say I'm flying an airplane, DCS, and I'll be doing loops. I don't get that feeling as much anymore,
Okay. I know especially things like jumping, that's pretty much fine, because once again, yeah, you're actually moving in the environment. Like in the multiplayer tests, we had people just doing jumping jacks in front of each other, and like it was pretty fine there. With the VIVE, there's not really many experiences out there that actually, where you're like in a cockpit, like you would in the DK2, just because with room scale, it's not really facilitated as well. But like I'm sure, give it a year or so, we'll probably see those sort of experiences coming out again, and we'll be able to know for sure.
Right, like you can be there, you can still sit
I
in
know
seats, but everybody's
Yeah.
excited about not doing that, but doing the other
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Plus, like,
Yeah,
if you're sitting in a cockpit, someone can just walk outside that cockpit.
Elite Dangerous did add support, so they will have that for sure.
Oh, nice. I haven't actually got Elite Dangerous, so I'll definitely need to pick that up.
Anybody else have any questions, thoughts, anything about that Unity tip, or have any, Unity questions?
I always like to hear Zaeran talk about skeuomorphism and stuff like how people yelled at you for not putting a QWERTY keyboard in, and how, like, teleportation is the way to do movement in VR, but everybody who's never tried VR hates it. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about people yelling at you.
Yeah, sure. So, I see, like, a lot of the stuff I've built, like, I guess, you would have seen the video up there, probably on my YouTube channel, with the, keyboard input prototypes for the VIVE. Like, one of them was, yeah, having just the letters, like, in a sort of grid. And so many, like, pretty much every comment I got about that was, why isn't it QWERTY, why didn't you make it QWERTY, etc. Because I guess people have been using QWERTY for at least, like, what, 30, 40 years, probably longer. And it's sort of that ingrained that everyone knows it, so if you try and change that, people will just either refuse to use it or just not know what's going on. So anything that sort of diverges from the norm, I guess, is a big thing that people have complained about. That's one there. So that was, yeah, another
Which
sort
makes,
of track that.
I mean, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
user patterns, when we do web design, we have to really think about that, or we have to think for them, for the users, and the users shouldn't really have to think, so I think
Yeah.
this is making them think more, in a way that they're not used to.
But is VR a reset button? Can VR be a way to do away with the things that don't work, or maybe are intuitive but dumb in VR? Or do we have to follow those old design patterns just because they're familiar?
I do think that VR should be a reset button. Like, for example, the keyboard, the way it is now is designed because it's the best way to, like, type with your fingers. But in VR, you're not going to be typing with your fingers. You're going to be, like, using some other sort of input, like eye tracking or a trackpad or something like that. So, like, but at the moment, at least early days, we do have to keep that because people aren't going to like it, I guess. Like, unless you sort of force it down their throats and everyone starts using it. Like, if you haven't got a QWERTY keyboard, but everyone else has a QWERTY keyboard, like, people are going to hang shit on your app because you don't have a QWERTY keyboard.
I guess it depends on how much do you want to, you can champion it and do it, but people are going to have to learn it, and so now you're, like, up against building the game and changing people's way they do input. So
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, especially in the case of keyboards,
a lot of scope.
Yeah. Like, yeah, in the case of keyboards, like, people learn to type in primary school. And, like, you can't really try and rewire that. At least
I guess
not
over
for another
time,
years.
if it really does make sense in VR, if finding out there's better ways, or it'll be more gradual. I don't think you can just shift people that fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, once a sort of input method comes along where the keyboard isn't really required, I guess, like, you'll slowly start to see that shift. But that's sort of like super mainstream VR adoption when we're not using a monitor anymore, when everyone's got a headset, is when you'll sort of see that happening.
I don't want to see Excel in VR, please.
Spreadsheets is going to be the killer app, man.
Yeah, definitely. You have a spreadsheet that goes all the way around you.
You're trapped. Accounting hell. It's accounting simulator. Other questions?
I've got a question.
Hey, what's up?
In Melbourne, is there much of a VR scene, or are you kind of flying solo down there?
We do have a bit of a VR scene. Like, most of the VR is sort of companies doing things, not really sort of game devs. So with the meetups, I'm trying to get sort of more devs into VR. But, you know, like all the people that we had from the original meetups like a good year or so ago have sort of formed their own companies and doing like things for businesses or things for clients and not really developing their own projects anymore. So it's like, at least in Australia, it's definitely moved towards the more business-focused VR side of things.
I get a quick question about the meetup Vive. Did you just fill out an application to get those, or for the meetup one?
Oh yeah, so basically just on the meetup site, you just create an account and then say I want to start a meetup, and then you have to pay something like.
Oh no,
I forget how much it is.
I have a meetup.
Oh, okay.
I have a virtual reality meetup. I'm talking about how did you ask HTC or Valve for the Vive?
Oh, okay, yeah. So basically, yeah, just shoot off an email to Augusta or Chet. Either one of them should be able to handle it, and just say like, I've got this meetup, link to your meetup site and whatever, and say I'd like a Vive or two, and chances are you'll get one, because especially like in the run-up to CES, when the new sort of DK2s are coming out, they're just trying to get rid of all the Vives they have already.
Cool.
So you got to email Chet or Augusta. Is that public information that can be found, or do you want to share it? We can share it on Skype, like I have Tizzy on Skype, if you want to.
Yeah, I can definitely hit up on Skype, or on, like, when I originally got my first Vive, what I did was I just went on to the, like, Steam's got a email a developer section, and you can just sort of, there's a drop down with all their sort of main developers, you can just select Chet in there, and then write an email in the sort of field and hit send, and that'll send it off to him. So, like, you don't even need his email address, you can just say, email a developer Chet, I want a Vive, go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, yeah, because I think some devs would definitely be coming to the meetup if they could test out the Vive. And stuff like
definitely,
that,
I forget, where's your meetup? Is it in Washington?
No, it's Indianapolis. We only got 50 people so far, but it's slowly growing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Get you some Vives, especially now this next round. I'm sure you can get them.
Yeah, 7,000. They gotta get rid of 7,000.
Yeah. More questions, more thoughts.
I kind of have a pitch, or two, actually.
Give me your pitch, Adam J.
Okay, you said that you might be interested in doing another chess game down the line.
Yeah, quite possibly.
If I may change into another avatar, I can explain this better. Hold on.
Adam J is a professional 3D printer and
Okay.
What's your pitch?
So this model that I made this avatar with is the pawn in a chess set that I have yet to release. The pawn is the only thing that's in the wild, and it is the result of a makerspace project where I had an artist try sculpting clay for the first time. He made 6 sculptures that are in this kind of creep show fashion, and I scanned them with the Xbox Kinect, the old one, and we made 2 physical copies of the chess set. He hand painted some and made it a limited edition kind of thing, and I've been trying to find a project to use the rest of the files for. So if you were doing a chess set that you'd need different chessboards for, or just chess sets for, I'd like to offer this up as a possible option. The other pitch is if you do a chess game either way with unique pieces, especially stuff like this where if you could pick up the pieces in VR and hold them up to your eyes and really inspect them would be kind of cool. But if you had unique pieces, offering those as shareable models for 3D printing for free could bolster your sales, get fans really jazzed about a specific chess set that they can play in real life or in VR with their friend in Tokyo or what have you.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool. I guess if I did do a chess thing, it would be more sort of Wizards chessy, so you'd have like the pieces animated and actually killing each other. So that's sort of the road I'd try and go down with it, but like custom chess sets and that would definitely be a good thing, especially if you could sort of either have it as free or set up some sort of marketplace or something for it.
Yeah, just a thought.
No, cool. Good to know.
Freak show chest. What would the queen look like?
The queen is a bowing figure with a sword, and the king is a goblin fat, grotesque kind of lording over the queen. The queen is actually bigger than the king, but the king has his hand out and on the shoulder of the queen. It's a interesting bunch of metaphors in the scene. It's really kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
The bishop is a ghostly, ghoulish collaboration of souls, and I believe there's some fellatio in there.
Oh, that's good.
Alright, so I've got an X-rated chess set. Great.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. The rook is a hostage situation.
Wow.
Love it. I want to see more of these in VR chat, especially the bishop.
Oh, I got a quick question.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, how many hours do you dev a day? Like, how much time are you spending? Are you clocking in on the Vive or whatever?
Surprisingly not.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I lost your audio.
Uh-oh. His chair's red, but his name's not.
Yeah, you're...
There we go.
There you go.
I hit some other button and like the V wouldn't key, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah, basically it's surprisingly less than people think I do. Like, I've sort of gotten to the point now where I can very rapidly prototype things out in Unity. So I guess, yeah, anything that's a new project I've probably worked on for sort of a couple of days, just sort of maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. Currently, well, let's see, I've been spending way too much time playing Oblivion, so not as much as I'd like. But I guess usually maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe a bit more. Just depends on what I'm working on really, and like, for example, at the moment I'm sort of building the social side of Minigolf, which is like a lot less fun than, say, designing new courses. So basically the amount of time I spend deving is proportional to how much fun I'm having with the section I'm deving.
Right.
Cool. That social, is that just all Steam type of social stuff?
No, it's basically my own, like it uses Photon, but eventually I'm going to move away from that and just use sort of Unity's own networking thing. But like, because Minigolf is designed to be for both the Vive and the Touch, and having people play together on both those platforms, I can't like use anything that's directly through Steam. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've sort of had to develop my own sort of user account system and rooms and all that sort of stuff.
What do you think your max player per game is?
I'm going to look at it 4 people, like, per game, just because that feels about right. And yeah, like any more than that, it starts to get a bit crowded, I think.
Yep. Don't want to wait too long for your turn.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's no turns. You can just play whenever you want. Like, you'll only be able to hit your ball.
Seems like that wouldn't be as fun.
It can be
Part
fun.
of the fun is watching the other person and laughing.
Like, you guys can decide to take it in turns if you want to.
Yeah. Do you have a touch, or did you just try one?
I don't have a touch yet. They're shipping them out to devs. They're meant to in January, so I'll hopefully be getting one next month. And then I get to actually start prototyping with that as well. And then you'll get to see a whole new wave of videos.
How could people find your videos?
So if you look up just Nathan Beattie on YouTube, that there's a pretty good chance you'll find me. My icon's the one of the guy with the beard. Or just look up something like Robot Chess or Battleship VR or anything like that. Like, type in the names of any of my projects and you should be able to find me as well.
Yeah, you've got me on the on how big your beard is. Mine's close, but you're winning.
Yeah, so if I stretch mine out now, it's pretty nice, yeah.
Quick question.
Yep.
Yeah, I missed the video or picture of you with the beard on. Do you mind showing it on the screens really quick? Just for comparison purposes.
guys. Nathan here. Just
Okay, that is definitely a lot longer than Gunter's beard. Thank you very much.
I think that video's from about, what, 5 or 6 months ago as well, so it's a bit longer.
Oh, really sweet. Everybody always asks, you know, like, how you did it, or somebody just asked me if I put beard oil in mine. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I don't know if
let
you,
it grow, and
yeah, you just do nothing.
yeah,
Pretty easy. The easiest thing you could do.
don't shave it, and it grows. That's it.
I mean, you got to trim like around your mustache area, because you know you get cheese and shit all on it. You know.
Yeah, there's times where just like eat something and it just like you get mustache in your mouth as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know how people with like the huge mustaches do it.
Yeah, we gotta have lots of napkins around.
Definitely.
I have a question. So about the ebook reader, when that came up, that kind of piqued my interest because that can help out a lot of people in a situation, you know, who are visually impaired. I being one of them, and actually my brother as well, and a few people here know about this. But yeah, if that might be something worth looking into, because we no longer would have to look at use a magnifier hunched over, trying to read a book, or sticking our face up to a tablet and trying to read. We could, read in bed or wherever comfortably, and I think that would be something really cool. Love to.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, yeah, definitely pick it up on Sideload then. And give it a shot and let me know what you think.
Yell at Oculus for not being, doing anything for accessibility.
Yeah, I agree. I actually contacted Samsung about their browser because I'm like, wow, this is like 90% the way there. If they could make it kind of like a virtual desktop, have maybe a curved screen, allow for reverse contrast for easier reading, and make a bigger screen. And I haven't heard anything back, so.
They gotta make that screen bigger. It's tiny.
Yeah, and I've sent a very long email. And
I suppose that everybody at Samsung's never tried VR. That's probably the case.
I'm surprised John Carmack just wasn't like, come on, guys.
Right.
How big is the screen actually? Because I haven't tried it yet.
You can only zoom into like 5.
Yeah.
It ends up being like a 45-degree FOV if you get what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, because basically the original feedback I got for the reader is that they want to keep text in the middle third of the screen. Like, sort of like the library setup, like you don't have anything that goes up too high or down too low, so that design sort of principle might be informing the browser as well.
I think they should make it at least double.
At
least to like maybe like 80 FOV, and then you can move your head.
Yeah, they should, at least for bigger screens, have it in accessibility area, and same for reverse contrast. Allow that for people who, I know they want to keep a certain experience and make it look as good as they can. But if they can have that off to the side, that was part of the email that I wrote, like, have it off to the side. Because people who are visually impaired aren't going to care about the little distortion, that they see around the edges. They're not going to see that. So if they can have a giant screen, then that would be awesome. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's something I found weird, like, because I got one piece of feedback from it, which was like, the book's too big, there's too much text, like, that goes up too high and down too low.
Yeah.
And like, when people are looking straight, like, they want to make sure basically that you only have to look straight ahead to read things. And it's just sort of like, it's VR, what if you look up and down? And they're like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, sort of, I don't know what the hell they're doing with that one.
Yeah, it's...
It should like be attached and move when you move your head. It moves somewhat, like scrolls or something.
Yeah. If virtual desktop again is a great example as far as screen customization, done well. You can change the distance, the size, the curvature, all that stuff, and I think that might be a good model to look at. I've used it extensively.
Yeah, even with the ebook reader, you can move the book like closer or further away depending on how you want to read it. So
oh, cool!
It's not like it's something that's difficult to do.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely download that. I saw briefly about the game jam, but I didn't realize you could. It was a full blown ebook reader. I thought it was just a experiment with some text. But that's
Oh
awesome.
no, so basically, yeah, you can, when you first install it, it creates a folder on your phone when you run it, and then you just put any EPUB files you want in there, and it'll load them in.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I actually have the VR book actually that I'm reading.
Okay.
So that would be perfect.
Oh,
Is it EPUB only?
At the moment, it's EPUB only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
That'd be cool
I did want to build it into like comics as well, so you could have like CBRs and stuff, and then like PDFs and everything, but it didn't get on the store, so I sort of just abandoned the project. But long term, the goal is to sort of have like comic books and other books and pretty much any file you want, and then have a sort of store where you can buy things and download them and whatnot. Yeah.
Very cool. Good question.
awesome.
All right, I think that's about it. Zaeran, where can people, we talk about your YouTube channel, but I think you're pretty active on Twitter, no?
I'm getting more active on Twitter. Like, I stopped using it for a bit, but yeah, people have sort of said to get back into it because they were following me, so it's like, alright. So I guess, yeah, Twitter is just Zaeran, YouTube is /Zaeran. Basically any website, if you put in Zaeran, there's a 99% chance it's me. So yeah, Reddit, all that sort of stuff.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming out on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And just a couple announcements from me. Tomorrow night is comedy night, first comedy club in VR chat. It's called LMVAO, Laughing My Virtual Ass Off. It's being brought to you by Semi-Cool Productions, and there are 3 comics lined up. This is all prototype testing. We want you to come out and help us break things or, see how things go. But the comedians that have probably barely tried VR are Ken Bond, who's done sets at the Comedy Store and Jimmy Kimmel, Maria Shihata, who's been on Showtime and Comedy Central, Aaron Cater, who's been on Comedy Central and the Comedy Store. So it's really cool. I've been waiting and wanting to have, to see performances and people that aren't VR people, aren't our VR fanboys, coming into VR and wanting to, do their art or show their talent. And so I'm really interested in how this goes. So come out tomorrow, same time as the show normally starts, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And of course, Sundays are our meetups. Come out on Sundays, hang out with everybody you see here and a bunch of other people, and run around cool VR chat worlds that people are creating all of the time. And next week, we're doing all kinds of winter festivities. There'll be all kinds of winter-themed rooms and some fun games. And Santa Claus will be there, and you'll be able to sit on his lap and take a 360 photo. And we'll only charge $1 per photo, so that's very nice of us. Just kidding. And please support me by going to my website, guntersuniverse.com, and click on some of the social media links there, like my Twitter, and say hello, or sign up for the newsletter so you get a blast every time the show's going live. There's also a Patreon account that you can click there and donate $1 or whatever you'd like to the efforts. I'm trying to grow this thing, and all the help I can get would be great. And that's it. So thanks to everybody that came out and that's watching. Thanks, Kenny, for running the cams. And definitely thanks to Zaeran. This has been great. Thanks for sharing everything.
No problem. Catch you in later.
All right. And have a great rest of your week, everyone. And I'll see you back here next Tuesday on Gunter's Universe. All right. Time to dance.
Is there a dance button?
Nope. You gotta be part of the elite 1%.
Alright.
Or else you stand and watch everybody else. There's no jump anymore here.
Oh.
People were jumping around everywhere during the show. So I made them so they can. Very cool. Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, that's right. It's pretty
I
cool.
always love hearing about I love Minigolf. I can't wait to play it.